When you've been living with chronic pain for a long time, it can begin to feel as though your own body has become the enemy. You stop trusting it. You start to become afraid of what it might do next. But what if your body isn't betraying you? What if it has been protecting you the whole time? Well, that's what we're talking about today on Wellness by Design. I'm your host, Jane Hogan, the Wellness Engineer. And today we are looking at a whole new way to consider chronic pain, a different way than you may have been approaching it so far. And I've got some great insights for you at the end, so make sure you stay tuned. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so happy that you found this podcast. And if you are a longtime listener, thank you. Thank you so much for subscribing, for tuning in, and helping Wellness by Design become a top 3% podcast in the entire world. I'm so grateful to you for making that happen. So thank you. And if you haven't already got your free chapter of my book, Pain-Free on Purpose, Use Your Mind to Heal Your Body and Get Your Life Back, you can do that by going to thewellnessengineer.com/free chapter. I'll have the link in the comments as well. Okay, I'll see you inside the episode. So I understand what it feels like to feel like your body is betraying you. I remember actually even having that thought, those exact words, my body is betraying me, my body is letting me down. I remember being mad about it, being sad about it, being embarrassed about it because I was only 50 years old when this started to happen, and I've been healthy and fit all my life. So it really felt bad, and you can, it's an experience of living with pain. You don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know when something's going to give out. And I hear the students that I work with sometimes even say that, like, my knee just gave out. And then it makes them afraid to even plan anything. And then they start holding back and not living their life fully because they're afraid that, for example, their knee may give out when they're going on a hike with friends. So they just start missing out on life. And the same thing happened with me as well. And we really realize that our body isn't just something we have, it's the place where we live. This is our home, right? Our soul, or however you want to think about it, our consciousness's home lives in this body. This is our vehicle to get around life. And when it starts to not work the way we've expected, it really does feel like it's been letting us down. And what I really want to understand, or help you understand from this, is that it's not like our body is a piece of machinery with a broken part that needs to be replaced or cut out, or that we need to even hide the pain, because that is what we've been told. And I understand, I get it. When you're in pain, you want to get out of pain, right? Because it is impacting your life. You can't think about anything else. It's interfering with sleep. It's interfering with your life. It's robbing you of your life. And so I understand that we want to get out of pain, and yesterday, right? Yesterday is not soon enough. And so I do understand that. And we've all been grown up with a paradigm of pain is something, it's not good. It means there's something wrong physically, something's broken, and we need to either just hide the pain, so cover it up with meds or whatever, or if it carries on, then probably we need to inject something in it again so that we don't feel the pain, or we need to cut something out or replace a part. And everything I've come to learn is that's not the way I believe we need to see it. And I'm not here to change anyone's mind. But if you are wanting a different path, then you are in the right place, because I'm going to talk about pain in a different way today. So first of all, I do want to say that pain is real. I do talk a lot about the pain and the brain deciding to turn on pain, and I will get into that. It doesn't mean that pain is not real. all pain that we feel is a real pain. And it also does not mean that my body is broken. Pain, if you assign my body is broken to pain, that's a meaning we're attaching to pain. It's not what the pain actually is. So, whenever you're experiencing pain, it is definitely real. But the experience of pain is different than the interpretation of pain. Pain is a symptom we experience. And often we will assign a meaning to that of this means my body has failed. But we want to I'm going to invite you to have a different interpretation. So instead of the interpretation you've probably had, and I did too, something is terribly wrong. My body is deteriorating. It's just part of getting older. I can't trust my own body anymore. I remember saying that. I have to control every possible trigger. So we start to think, it's the food that I'm eating. Oh, I must have eaten something, or it's the weather, or it's, the walk that I did, or the weights that I lifted, or, we're thinking it's all of those things, right? And then we try to control it, and our life starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And also we think, I may always be this way. And maybe you've even been told by your doctor, I know I was, that it's going to get worse. It's just going to get worse as you age. And so you feel helpless. It feels inevitable and like there's nothing that you can do. So what I want you to understand is, and try to have some separation between the body experiencing pain and then interpreting that as something. So the typical interpretation is, if we're experiencing pain, our body is broken. And maybe you're not using that word exactly, but that is, I believe, what we're led to believe. There's something wrong with you or with your body. And so I want to shift that. I want to shift that paradigm. So let's move on to that shift now. What does it mean? What does it mean when we have pain? What if it could have a different meaning? What if the meaning was, instead of there's something wrong with you, what if pain is actually an intelligent action of the body? What if, and maybe the body and the mind, the body is an intelligent protector. There's nothing not intelligent about our body. It doesn't start doing things for no reason at all. There's always a reason, but that reason isn't that you're broken. Even aging. We have been told, and I still find it hard myself to reconcile this, that our body declines as we age. And sure, there are some things, I don't think we want to live forever. So, there is an end to when this body gets to the end of its useful life. However, there are plenty of people that get to an old age without pain. So pain isn't an inevitable part of aging, like we've been led to believe. So getting back to why do we have pain? If our body's not broken, which is what I'm trying to say, it's not that the body is broken. There's something else going on here. And that something else is that the body has turned on an intelligent response. Okay, so pain is an intelligent response of the body. What is that? What do I mean by that? How could pain be intelligent? Well, I've often come back to the concept that pain is protection in the body. So the body has done this many times, and it will do this. If you get an injury, it turns on pain to protect you. So I'm going to use the example of last 2 years ago now. I was training for a trail run race, and I was running down Marble Mountain ski hill in my backyard here, and I was going kind of fast, but I lost my footing. I didn't trip, but I did kind of land funny or step funny on my ankle. And so I, twisted my ankle. It was painful. Obviously, I had, some of the ligaments or whatever had stretched too far. It swelled up. It was horribly bruised and it was painful. That was an intelligent response of the body. It turned on pain because there was an acute injury there. It didn't want me to walk on it because it was focusing its attention on protecting that area so that it could heal. So that's an acute pain situation. So that's a little bit different. Now, what would be a strange thing is, that injury happened, I think 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. If that pain started up again now for no reason, then I would start to question that. Why is my body turning on pain now? That injury is long since healed. This is when it can still turn on pain as an intelligent response, but now it's not a response to an injury. Now it could be a response. It's still a protective response, but maybe it's got another meaning. It could be that I'm feeling stressed for some reason. And because that pathway for pain, hasn't been used for a while, but it was there, my brain could decide that it's going to use that pathway that it already knows, turn that pathway on again, and turn on some protection, which might be nothing, well, it would be nothing to do with the ankle injury, but it might have something to do with, hey, if I turn on that pain again, Jane's going to stay home, she's not going to interact with people, and that will help protect her. So you can see how our brain and nervous system can still use pain as a form of protection. It's just now it's not protecting for an injury, it's protecting on some other level. So it's still an intelligent projector. So it's kind of like if you think about a smoke alarm. Okay, so let's use this a little bit of an analogy. Sometimes you got smoke alarms. This happens to us all the time. We've just got something like baking in the oven and it gets a little bit hot, or maybe there was something that had spilled on the bottom of the oven and that's kind of burning up. And the smoke detector will go off like for no reason. There's no smoke, but it just starts to go off. It just becomes like highly sensitive. The same thing can happen to our body, right? It can become highly sensitive, and it doesn't mean that there actually is smoke or that there actually is fire. It's just like, going off because it's overly sensitive. And but why has it gotten overly sensitive? We'll talk about that in a moment. So a protection system can create distress without there being any defect. I mean, actually, look at that smoke detector, right? It's not really a defect. It's just a little bit overly sensitive. So again, I want to say, it doesn't mean that any pain you're experiencing is not real pain. It's all real pain if you're feeling pain. It doesn't mean that the pain is in your head or you're making it up. All pain actually all sensations will get filtered through the brain. The brain decides what to do with it. Two people can experience something very similar and have very different results. The brain can also decide that it's going to turn on or off pain depending on what it thinks might best serve you at the time. Often in my webinars, I talk about delayed pain. So this is examples of this are people who are hurt like in combat, or people that are hurt in the wilderness, and they have to get out of wherever this injury has happened in order, or else they're going to die. And so the brain will actually turn off pain in those situations, and they get to safety again. And then all of a sudden pain turns on, and they'll say, but I didn't feel any pain until this point. Lots of documented cases of that. So that's like such a clear example of the brain making a decision on how can I best protect this person right now, this body right now. So sometimes it might decide that it's not going to turn pain on if it deems there's a better way I can protect this person. Okay, so sometimes we can begin protecting ourselves from protection. Now, what do I mean by that? The mind can send a signal. So the body sends a signal actually to the mind, and then the mind might interpret that signal as danger. And so you start paying attention to it a little bit more. So, let's use my ankle as an example. Like if I'm running now and I feel a little something in my ankle, I might go, oh no, that's that old injury. And I might start bracing or favoring it or thinking that I shouldn't keep running. And actually, this did happen to me recently. I started noticing that same ankle was like starting to hurt. I'm like, wait a minute. I know what this is. Of course, whatever you're teaching, you can expect to get lessons in that. So I got that lesson. And so I kept telling myself, nothing to be alarmed about. That's just that old injury. Just keep running. You're fine. I could have told myself a different story. I could have said, oh no, that injury is acting up again. I better stay off it. But I kept on running. I don't even notice it. It's not there anymore. So, our interpretation of it can change. And then once we start, bracing and protecting, we're sending more evidence to the brain of this isn't safe, this isn't good, because we're interpreting it that way. And so we can even then, create more pain. I talk often about the pain fear cycle. And so we have pain, and then we start to have fear about the pain. Oh no, what's this going to mean for my future? And then from that, we're having this fear. And so then our brain goes, uh-oh, Jane's like a little worried about the future. Things aren't safe here. I better turn on more protection. So it turns on more pain. We have more fear. Oh no, the pain is getting worse. Right? And so we can get stuck in the cycle where the pain keeps escalating. And not only that, we can become more sensitized to pain. So it takes then very little for us to feel pain even more intensely. So we don't want that. So what I want you to understand about this is that, a pattern of pain can develop, and it might even show up in other ways as well, that it may have showed up even before you got pain. You may have been stressed. You may have been having, if you are a people pleaser or a perfectionist, or you're hypervigilant or hyper independent, those are protective behaviors that may have started long before the pain started. And we never really resolved those root cause issues. And I'll get to those, I don't know about today, but maybe in another episode. Well, those behaviors are signs that on some level, our brain and nervous system still think we need to protect ourselves. And so eventually, it might start with a little whisper. Maybe you get like a pain in your shoulder, or you get tendonitis, and then eventually can become even more, and then, becomes a shout, right? And then a sledgehammer in the form of pain. So again, coming back to, this doesn't mean your body is broken. It just means that your body is continuing to get the signal that you need to be protected. And so it keeps responding in an intelligent way by turning on more protection. Okay, body's not broken. All right, so instead of thinking what's wrong with my body, a better way of thinking is, what has my body learned? What has it learned? So let's look at these two different orientations. So one, if you're thinking that your body is broken, you might be thinking, what's wrong with me? How do I make this stop? What do I need to fix? How can I control every possible trigger that is turning on my pain? Now, I was there, and maybe you're there too. And sometimes, I may fall back there and I have to remind myself, oh no, okay, let's look at a positive body orientation. What has my body learned? What might my body be responding to? How can I help my body recognize greater safety? How can I help my brain and nervous system feel more safe? How can I listen to what my body is saying without becoming afraid? without having fear about that pain. We don't want to get in that pain fear cycle, right? And how can I become more of a partner with my body? More of a partner with my body. So it might seem like being compassionate with your body about the pain that it's experiencing is means you're like agreeing to live with pain forever. But it's not that at all. Compassion means that you are actually, compassion means that you're actually stopping this war with your body and thinking of your body as the enemy. You're just asking it to heal. So I want to give you a little bit of an experience that may help. It's not like a groundbreaking experience, but it's just a little experience of what happens when you have more compassion for your body instead. So if you are driving or distracted right now, just pause this and come back to this when you can fully focus on the questions I'm going to ask you now. Okay, so assuming that you're ready for these questions, let's go into them. So first of all, just place a hand somewhere on your body that feels comforting and supportive. For a lot of people, it's like the chest, maybe, or your heart area, or maybe it's your belly, maybe it's just, around your throat. Whatever feels right for you, place one or both hands on a part of your body that just feels comforting and supportive. It might even be like a hug, giving yourself a hug like this. Okay, now I want you to notice what happens internally, so in your body, when you think this thought. My body is broken. How does that feel in your body? There's no right or wrong. This is just you noticing. When you have the thought, my body is broken, how does that feel? I know for me, if I have that thought, I feel like sadness. I can feel a bit of a lump in my throat, a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. That's what I feel. But what do you feel? And then, without changing anything, let's just offer the new possibility. My body, this is a new one, my body has been trying to protect me. I feel a little bit of a lightness and a little bit of a lifting. What do you feel? Just pay attention to what you feel. Just notice how your relationship with your body changes with this. Okay, now, what if you say this to your body? So a little closing, maybe you want to even close your eyes as you say this, and just repeat this in your own mind, as if you're talking to your body. You are not my enemy. I am learning how to listen. You are not my enemy. I am learning how to listen. So this is not any kind of technique to stop pain. It's just a new way of meeting your body today in a more compassionate way. So I hope you found that helpful, and maybe you want to come back and revisit this again. So if you are tired, sensitive, or symptomatic, it doesn't mean that your body is actually failing. Your body may be adapting, it may be responding, and just trying to keep you safe in the best way possible. So here's another deeper question I want to leave you with. What becomes possible for you when you stop relating to your body as the problem? What becomes possible when you stop relating to your body as the problem and you have a more compassionate approach? So, what's the one thing you can do today that's going to shift your body into the healing state? I would say that today, just notice one moment. Notice a moment where you're not judging or fearing or fighting your body. Pause and place a hand on your body, just like we did, and say, you are not the enemy. I'm willing to consider. I'm open to the possibility that you are trying to protect me. I often find those words, I'm open to the possibility. It doesn't mean you have to accept all this right now, but can you be open to the possibility that your body is trying to protect you? You don't have to force it or believe it 100%. Just simply offer your mind and your body a different possibility. Okay, I hope you enjoy doing that one small moment. So in my next solo episode, I'm going to be talking about how this protection can get turned on. I'm going to explore that hidden cost of living in protection, because there is a cost. And well, why would we want a cost for living, right? We want to change that. And so I'm going to be sharing that with you in the next episode. So if you found this helpful, I'd love to hear a comment. So go ahead and type a comment. Let me know what you thought. Did you experience even a little bit of release? What resonated with you? And if you know someone who needs to hear this, and maybe someone that's living with chronic pain, and goodness, 20% of the adult population is, and I think 65% of people over the age of 65 live with chronic pain. So we probably know someone with chronic pain. If they are a little bit willing to be open to consider a new idea, then please share this with them. Okay, I'll see you in the next episode of Wellness by Design.